Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm so sorry, I swear. I feel like everyone always says that, but basically I have been away from YouTube mainly just because work has just taken over my life. Work is a lot. Ignore that stuff there. I didn't realize it was in frame, but it's my bedroom. Okay, we're gonna be real here. But yeah, so today's video is about getting that training contract. So I am a trainee at a firm. I'd say it's regional. It's a regional firm. It's a small firm, but not like a sole practitioner. It's a small firm, but getting bigger. These are just things that I personally found helpful and kind of wish I knew when I was applying for training contracts, basically. And I basically got my training contract through a year of paralegaling, just under a year of paralegaling, and then I was given a training contract. I earned a training contract in March of last year. So I'm currently almost finishing my second seat. I'll be going to my third seat in March, and then I'll come to an end next year. So basically this video is just about 5 kind of suggestions that I have for people that are looking for training contracts. I've got these written in my amazing planner, which was gifted to me by one of my friends. So the first point that I basically made about applying for training contracts is basically you need to have a CV that you believe in, and you need to know your CV from back to front. And the reason why I say this is because, like, when I attended law fairs, workshops, all these kind of things, yeah, I feel like I was given so many different styles of CVs. So it was like, you could do this, you know, have a heading, then about you, and then all your experience. So you could section it by legal experience, non-legal experience, then education, blah 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 blah. And then some people will say that they've got like a paragraph written about them and their work ethic and that kind of thing. Some people will say that they don't put their grades on there. Some people do. And I feel like there's so many different ways of doing a CV. It's too many, in fact. So what is it? You need to go, obviously utilize these resources. Go to fairs, go to your careers advisors in school, college, uni, whichever, and obviously listen to them, but adopt a style that you like best, and then go with it, like run with it, like run like the wind, and know that that is my CV. And if someone says, oh, maybe, like if it's a mate or something says maybe you should, if that's what you believe in, then you need to go with it. Because when it comes to the interview time, that's when they're gonna start asking you, like, tell me about a time when you, I don't know, ate chicken, for example. Then you could say, oh, well, looking at my CV, in March 2000 and da-da-da, I started an experience where all I did was eat chicken for 1 month straight. That gave me a great insight into eating chicken. Such a bad thing. Yeah, you need to basically have a CV that you believe in, know your CV. And I think when I say know your CV, I don't mean like know which paragraph says what. I mean know what you've written on that piece of paper, because sometimes work experience, they stem back from, I've got work experience on my CV going back 2011, and that's a long time now, being the 1st of January 2018 right now. That's a long time back. So if I didn't know my CV, that will be a problem. You need to know where you're putting stuff. What did you do during that time? Before I attend interviews, I say, I did this. I have bullet points on my CV. Bullet points on how did I do this? What did I do there? What did I take away from that role? So I worked in a bank for a while. How did I tailor my banking experience to working in a law firm? I'm not going to tailor it on my CV, but the skills, the transferable skills, that's the term, transferable skills that I learned whilst working in that bank, I put on my CV. So it's easy, it's trigger words. So it's easy when I'm trying to explain my CV to somebody. Number one, I always have a copy with me. They're going to have one. I've always got one. So pull it out, whip that bad boy out and start being like, yes, something transferable. I don't know. Identification. You know that being a solicitor, you've got lots of AML checks to do, depending on the type of law you go to. But yeah, you've got lots of AML checks to do. Link the two, because a recruiter, I think personally, is going to be impressed and be like, this girl knows about AML checks already. That puts you ahead of someone who doesn't. Although it doesn't mean that you're any better or any worse, it gives you that one little element, that pizzazz, that thing that you can say, I know this, I've got this skill. Number 2 is research the firm. Now, when I was attending law fairs and stuff like that, I never used to understand what they said about what they meant by research the firm. But what that really means now, I think now that I've been in this firm for 2 years now, I get what they mean by research the firm. Like, if I'm in a particular area of law, say for example conveyancing, residential conveyancing, and someone comes up to me talking to me about, yeah, you know, it's really important about the legal aid changes, I'll be looking at you like, that's very, very important, but how is that relevant to what we're talking about? We're talking about residential conveyancing. So research the firm, know what they offer, and know what you want. So if you want a legal aid, a firm that does legal aid, you're not going to be applying that. Obviously, if you've got a list of 10, that knocks out like 3-4 law firms, because some of them just don't do legal aid work, or the vacancy that you are applying for is not a vacancy, not in an area of law that does legal aid work. So you talking about legal aid doesn't make any sense. One resource that I think is absolutely amazing, Google reviews. If you Google the firm and look at the Google reviews, just on the side, these are customers that have used, clients that have used the firm and have now reviewed and said, this experience was great, I spoke to so and so, and da-da-da. That is first-hand review. That's a first-hand review on that firm. That's some of the best research you can do. It's not just about the area of law, it's about that firm in particular. What is so good about that firm? A client might write on a Google review, they were accessible, they replied to me within 24 hours. That's something that you can carry in your interview and be like, yeah, well, as I understand it, you make it a point to reply to your clients within 24 hours if you're not available at the time of their call. That's a big deal. Because one thing that I think when we're younger, we're not taught is the business of law. And actually, it's a big thing to be accessible to your clients. And for them to say, oh, don't worry, my solicitor, I'll call my solicitor. If they can't get through to me, they'll call me back. I know they will call me back. Whereas there are some solicitors that I'm assuming you have to chase. We're not one of those. So yeah, research the firm. Big thing to do. Obviously, their websites are there. Some firms are now even onto Twitter. Some firms they will definitely be on LinkedIn, that kind of thing. Connect with the big recruiters of that firm. If you know of who the recruiting manager is, connect with that person on LinkedIn, because more than likely they want to see who you are, and you also want to see who they are. And they'll probably, I don't know, I'm not a recruiter, but I think if they're going to interview you, they might run a quick search on LinkedIn and see if you come up. Number 3 is talk to people. When I made that decision that I wanted to be a lawyer, I spoke to anybody. I'd always just chuck it in conversation, be like, yeah, you know, I'm studying to be a lawyer, da, da, da. And then someone's been like, oh really, I know someone that's doing that, I know someone that's doing this, and that's how conversation starts flowing. And then sometimes when I was finding it difficult, because I literally have been looking for a training contract for years before I found one, as in during uni, during the LPC, I was still looking. But after speaking to people, that's when I started to realise that they've got tips. Everyone's got tips. Everybody has tips. It's just about you knowing which one is the best one for you, which one works for you. So talk to people, because people are so wise. They're annoying, but they're wise. And they've got lots of things that they can say that will actually be very beneficial to you. And my next point is know the type of firm you want to look at. So example, the type of law. I kind of mentioned this earlier with research the firm, but this one's more you. So this is based off your experiences in law school, your experiences in the undergrad. It doesn't even have to be that you did the LLB. You could have done, I don't know, any other degree, and then obviously done a GDO later on. that anything that you picked up and you thought, man, I love that, you know, whether it's public law, whatever it is that you thought that was good, you need to run with that. And once you've got that interest, it really helps a lot. So if you then can research, because there's no point in applying, I don't think there's a point in applying to millions of firms just because they're a firm and they have a vacancy, because I just don't think it helps you. You're like, you may get it, you may be amazing with your typing skills and you may get an interview, but I found it was good to tailor my applications. So I then selected, I think I selected like a big number, like 40 firms, and I said, I like this about them, I like this about them, and those were who I applied for. I kept an eye out for these people. Now that's not to say that you're going to be successful, because like I said, I was a paralegal for a whole year before I got a training contract. Now that is because the firm that I applied for, that's how they kind of do their process. You have to be a paralegal, then you get the training contract, and lots of people do it that way. When I say 40 firms, they weren't 40 in one day, they were over the good few years, like over the 2 years, 40 firms I applied for, and I chose them for particular reasons. Like I personally don't, at the time I didn't think I wanted to be at a huge firm, and at the time I didn't want to be in a sole practitioner's firm because I've been in one and I didn't like it. But yeah, know the firm, know whether you're looking for a big firm, small firm, medium-sized firm, know if you want a firm that does legal aid work, know if you want a firm that is very hands-on, so has many offices, know if it's a firm that is kind of like online based, email based, and they don't see their clients very, very often, but only like when necessary kind of thing. And then point 5 is work experience. Now work experience is a big deal, and I know, like, oh, believe me, I know there's that saying that, you know, you apply for work, but they tell you want work experience, but in order to get the work experience you need the work. It's like a vicious cycle kind of thing. But keep trying, man, keep trying. I personally went to the University of Law, and they've got kind of, at the time they had this kind of student intranet which had lots of vacancies for work experience, training contracts, paralegal, legal assistance, all kinds of things. And I kept an eye out on lots of those. I did paid work experience, I did unpaid work experience. I've worked in firms that was somebody's house. I've worked in firms that it was just this one room with me and a person. Man, I feel like I've done a lot. Like I've been to a lot and I've gone through a lot. And while you're doing those work experience, one thing I want to add is know that you are actually a valuable thing to bring to the firm. And I say that because one thing that we kind of overlook is that you need to be careful about how you kind of work. It's not fair for law firms to quote unquote exploit their work experience people. I know people who've worked for expenses only for a long period of time. This is at the time when they were doing it, was 2017. Like you need to be able to get your funds from somewhere. And some people might say, oh well, you know, if you want the long-term goal, then you have to go through this. Yes, you do, but you need to know where to draw the line, and you need to know when somebody's taking advantage of you, and if you're not being treated fairly, you need to know when to stop. But you know, that being said, work experience, you need to make that sacrifice to say, actually, I want this work experience, or I want to be a trainee, I want to be a solicitor eventually, and I'm gonna work for free for a while. Hopefully I'll be able to approach my recruiter and say, you know, I've been doing this for you, this is what I've brought to the table. I hope that you can see that I've been working really hard, and I look to becoming an actual employee of the firm or the business. That is something that I didn't realise when I was doing work experience. I didn't realise that actually they wouldn't have kept me on so long if I was crap. They wouldn't have. You know, work ethic is a big thing for law firms. A lot of the time, they don't expect you to come in to be, you know, well, that's bad, to be like a whiz at everything. But what they want is someone who's proactive and who's really willing to work hard. And working hard doesn't mean working from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. Some firms that is what it takes, but some firms it's about working smart, getting in at a good time, just cracking on with work. You know, me and my current manager, we've got an amazing relationship where, you know, we literally power on throughout the whole day. In between we'll have little chats, little jokes, and then we'll just keep it going. And once we have a good relationship like that, the work ethic just powers on and increases over time. So yeah, work experience is a big deal. If you can't get it in a law firm, you might be able to get it in companies where they've got legal departments. Just check, always ask, because the worst thing someone can tell you is no. That's it. So that brings me to the end of my 5 suggestions on obtaining a training contract. These aren't suggestions for big top city firms, because I'm not at a big top city firm. I can't tell you what that's like. I really can't. But if you're just looking for a smaller firm, yeah, I think these tips should help, and I hope they help. If you have any questions about law, about training contracts, paralegaling, even just work experience in general, just let me know and I'll be happy to help. Thank you so much for watching my video. Let me know if there's anything you want to see. That would be really good. And be sure to share this with any of your friends. Be sure to like and subscribe to my channel, because I like the path of kind of law and advice and that kind of thing, because I feel like I've done it, so why not share to people, because I know how hard it can be, man. I literally looked for years. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Bye.